Hello, good evening, and welcome to, actually good afternoon in our brand new time, right? Saturday, 3 p.m. Welcome to a brand new Love Talk, and today we're going to be talking about something that is hot and spicy, how stress is putting couples off sex.
Well, I'm sure that stress is not allowing things to get hot and spicy. Exactly. I don't know how that works.
And we're going to see how that affects couples.
Yes,
we have a couple later on in the show who everything in their relationship went upside down, and it's only by a miracle that they are together now, because, you know, their story is amazing. And we also have a sexual health professional here with us, Dr. Vania Martins, and you'll be hearing her opinion from speaking to people on how this is a serious issue in relationships. Before that, let's see what the people in London have to say about this.
How do you think stress can affect a relationship?
A lot. You're stressed out, it's easy to take that out on somebody else. So I guess when you're in a relationship, you kind of want to come home and have those kind of conversations with your partner or with your family, and that can ultimately lead to good things or bad things, but it definitely can have a major effect, yeah.
I think it can affect a relationship, especially if one person's stressed, the other person's quite laid back. I think he puts up with a lot from me because I stress quite a lot, but yeah, I think it can.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I say I'm very laid back. Kelly's quite a stress head at times, but I say
we get through it because he helps me all the time and keeps me calm and tells me I'm being stupid. So.
Right, so you see there that stress can be a problem, right, Lena? When one is stressed and the other one is more laid back.
Well, the lady said, one of the ladies said, I think it can affect. Of course it does affect. I don't know, I'm sure Dr. Vania will be able to say more about that, but when the person is stressed out, it's like you don't really feel like... And
also because, you know, if we're talking specifically about the sex life, when you're going to be together with your partner, you need the mood, right? You have to be in the mood, and when you're stressed about something, you're not really in the mood.
And the mood begins in the morning. It's not just, all right, then let's
flip a switch in the evening.
No. So I do believe it does affect.
Well, first of all, let us introduce to you Dr. Vania, who's been very kind to come on the show. How are you, Doctor?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
It's a pleasure. Dr. Vania, now, does stress affect the sex life of a couple? That's the first question.
Yes, it does affect. Definitely it affects, because it's difficult to have sex if you cannot concentrate first. Because to have sex, you need to concentrate in what you're doing.
Really? I never thought of it like that.
You need to concentrate.
That's interesting.
Yes. For men, is more what he sees is more important. More important for women in how you deal with her during the day, or during the month, or during the week. Everything comes back when you go to bed. So it's a different system.
Right. So you're talking from a woman's perspective.
Yes.
Like preparation.
Talking, and say good things, beautiful things. A man is more straightforward, and he
the man,
usually...
if he sees the woman naked, that's it, right?
Yes,
all right.
More straightforward than women.
I was asking you before the show actually started, that do you feel that couples talk enough about sex, about their sexual life? Is it something that they don't talk about it enough? Do they talk about it enough? What do you think?
No, they do not talk about sex. They make love, but they don't talk about sex. Even when they are doing sex, it's quite difficult to hear something.
Right.
Or maybe some and words. Even some couples, it's quite difficult because some men if the woman start to make some noise, for them it's strange and they don't like. Or even she says, I'd like if you could do this with me. And they think, are you going to give me some water? And then stop straightforward the relationship.
Right, interesting.
And how, in your opinion, how important is it for couples to talk about sex? Is it important in the sense that it can make it better for both of them, can make their relationship closer?
Yes, both, both terms, because the sex can be much better if you talk about that. If you say what you like and she says what she likes, it's very important. And of course, both say what they don't like as well. It's very important, and what they related to each other before, previously, during the terms of, because you always have a lot of problems with the money, lack of money, for example. If you think about that, or many couples they have this for 10 years, they will not have a sex, and then you have to shoot off for some moments. You take advantage of this moment to decrease the stress. And then if you talk about a problem with a wife, if you open these problems that you have outside home, in a job or things like that, is more helpful to increase your performance.
Right.
you see, I find it really interesting what she said. Many people nowadays, I don't know if it's due to pornography, you know, this whole thing growing, and people are starting to have a wrong idea of sex and what it's for and what it does to you. And you could actually use it to relieve your stress and talk about things and get close to one another. That's
a good question. Does it relieve people of stress?
Research shows that if it's done properly, it can do that.
Right.
If it's done properly.
If it's done properly. If
yes.
Not, then it can
like everything
stress.
In life should be done properly. If you don't do things properly, you're going to be more stressed than before.
Right.
So therefore they need to talk about it so they can get it right, isn't it?
Yes. When I say when you make love properly, it depends on each couple, no? Because if they have to talk,
exactly.
Because each couple they have their own way to making love.
Yeah. Now, because we're talking about stress and how it affects couples, for example, you mentioned money earlier, and money can be a factor of stress. Family problems with the children. I mean, in your opinion, what are some important steps for you not to allow stress to affect your relationship, your sexual relationship with your partner?
You have to be open with your partner. I need some help. I have seen that I'm strained with you. I know that you are trying to look for me on the bed or trying to touch me, to kiss me, and I'm avoiding you. I have noticed that. I'm sorry, it's not me. I have this problem, and then start to talk about that. And this is the point, mainly for men, because you know they think that she's going to think that I'm weak, that I'm not strong enough to be her man, because women like security and things like that. It's not the point, because the moment she knows what's happening, and she can help you in some way, maybe only giving you a beautiful word or touching your hair, say, oh baby, let's try to sort out this together.
Because men and women, they deal with stress differently, right? For example, we men, when we are stressed...
You're never stressed. At least you never look...
You're talking about me or men in general?
Men in general, I think.
No, men that do get stressed, very stressed sometimes.
Yeah,
well, you don't externalize it that much.
Yeah, the problem is that we don't talk about stress.
Yeah, they keep inside because they want to show they're strong. If you're afraid that if I show that I'm stressed, she's gonna think I'm weak.
Okay.
And they don't like it.
So, in your opinion, the most important thing is to talk about it. If you're stressed about something, don't be afraid if the person's going to think that you're rejecting them or anything like that. Talk about the problem, right?
And also something that she said I would like to pick on is comment on is that most of the time, first of all, women are the ones that are more stressed, more affected by daily problems like children, finances, because sometimes the woman is the one who runs, you know, not the financial part of their life, but sometimes she does. She knows, oh, a bill just came in, we need to pay, we don't have money, or whatever problem. So it reflects on her intimacy with her husband. And we hear many people say, oh, many men, oh, she always has a headache. Maybe it's her way of saying, I don't feel like it now.
Or I'm stressed.
I'm stressed. So a good thing, a good tip for men at home would actually be, you know, pay attention at the signs and just, you know, talk to the person, to the wife and to the partner and say, yeah, is everything okay? Just ask.
What's going on? Yes, because sometimes she keeps saying, like, headache every day, what's going on? They should know that something is wrong. But some men, they that's worried about the budget or the things. They okay, headache.
They think it's them, isn't
headache.
it?
Yeah, I'm tired as well. And then someone should start the
conversation,
the business to have sex.
Okay.
Because okay, I'm tired today. I'm tired as well. Let's go to bed. Okay. Oh, we went for a dinner, a party. I'm tired. Okay. And then when you see 15 days, nothing happened. And then, oh my God, 15 days. What's going on with him? He doesn't want to anymore. And she as well.
And the thing is that when a couple is not intimate, they start to drift apart, because the more the intimacy is so important, because it's the only thing that you do with your partner that separates you from everybody else, because you don't do that with anybody else. So that's what brings you together, right?
Indeed.
Yes, because sometimes you don't notice that what's going on. When you see maybe it's too late, or maybe your wife does not say anything, but she keeps inside of him. Oh, when you start dating, you used to looking for me every day, every week, 3 times a week, and now 15 days. What's happening? Oh my God, it's my body.
But that's actually the problem, isn't it?
It's my hair. No, I need to do something. It's not that.
And then insecurities begin, and then more stress.
And then she starts to try to see his emails, Skype, telephone numbers.
If there's anything wrong. You see, sex is so important in a couple's life.
It's very important.
If that part of their life doesn't work, it's because maybe he's doing this.
It affects everything else.
Yeah, because they cannot be flatmates.
Confidence.
They are a husband and wife.
Exactly.
It's part of the game.
Exactly.
It's just nice. Of course, with the age, of course, it's going to change. Okay, and when it's 70s or 60s and 50s, something is going to change. But they are still going, having sex, maybe in a different way.
We have to go to a break, but I want to ask you, I want you to think during the break about a question. Who finds it more difficult to talk about sex? Is it men or women? Don't answer now, think about it.
And tell us why.
Because after the break we're gonna talk about that. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Before the break, I asked Dr. Vania, is it more difficult for men or for women to talk about the subject of sex in their relationship?
Oh, in my experience, I have to say men. Men?
Why is that? Because do you think they feel that if they talk about it, then they may think, she might think, I don't know how to do this?
I guess they feel insecure.
Insecure?
Insecure, yeah. They can, because some men are very proud, men about sex. Because this for them is the most important thing, that I cannot fail. It does not exist.
So funny.
To some extent, someday it's going to happen.
And you know what I was thinking? It's very important. Nobody teaches us about sex. Right? We go into a relationship and we are supposed to know about it, but nobody says, like your mom talks to you, teaches you how to cook and so on. No one teaches you how to
make love.
To make love,
yes. That's a good point.
So
you have to learn by yourself.
You have to learn by yourself.
But I tell you where people are learning. They are learning from the wrong places.
The wrong sources.
The wrong sources, thank you.
Yeah.
People,
that is the problem. And this is when a wrong idea of sex comes about. It's not something dirty like people make it look like. It's something that is part of a relationship.
Part of the life, yes. Because when you're a teenager, your body starts to show, oh my God, something's wrong. What's going on? And then you start to learn, to looking for some information about that. But many years ago, men used to go to a specific place to learn how to make sex with older women. Nowadays, they learn to make sex with their girlfriends, first girlfriends.
Right.
And then nobody knows how to do anything, and then the pregnancy is there, and they don't know what to have an orgasm or pleasure, because it takes time to achieve the point, the right point in sex. It's not easy as that, like. Now, you speak to people. You're a sexual health doctor, right?
Yes.
And you speak to people who come to you with problems in this area of their life. What would you say is the thing that causes the most stress in a couple? If a couple comes to you, or a lady or a man, and says, look, I'm having problems with my intimacy with my partner, usually what is the cause of stress in most couples from your experience?
Yeah, it depends. For example, have some couples, hygiene, for example, is a big issue.
Really?
Yeah, some men, they don't like brushing their teeth. They take a shower every 2 days, even in cold places.
This is important
like
information, men out there.
I have a lot of problems. It looks like, oh my God, they go through with this. Yeah, because I have couples, we may want to get divorced because I can't stand this man anymore. I have 3 years to go to this. See? Imagine making love with a man like
and maybe the man is thinking,
tough.
Oh, it is, it puts someone...
You mentioned men a lot there. What about women?
Because I see more women than men.
Right.
They come afterwards, but usually the focus of the conversation they come is their husbands.
Yeah.
And then
why they're having problems.
Yeah.
Yes, and then they start to complain about their husbands, and then I go to the point of themselves, because of course we're not perfect.
Yeah.
Well, usually when they come and they complain about themselves. Of course, women, they have a lot of problems. For example, depression is a big problem. Of they having been abused when they're or problems in their families. Maybe they have parents that they used to fight inside the house.
And all these things cause stress.
Cause stress. Maybe you need to pick up during the conversation. What is the point? And work on this. It takes time.
I have a question. Something that maybe I don't know, I haven't reached that stage yet, but you know, the whole thing of menopause, the preparation, because that's one of the changes a woman goes through. I'm sure men go through some changes also, but I'm
not that dramatic.
But for example, I hear people say how it affects their body, their mood, and that for sure must cause a lot of stress in that department.
Yeah.
So how can a couple deal with that? Because a man at his 45s is still like a 20-something-year-old, isn't it? It's like some of them they think they are still 17.
They don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't take drugs. It's fine.
Isn't
but diabetes is a big issue. They cannot have erection. It's quite difficult.
So how does a woman deal with that?
Yeah, it's for women. It's more, I would say, tough, but they try to keep the marriage as much as they can. When they say I cannot stand anymore, because sometimes take for 2 years and say I can't stand it anymore, then they got depression, and then they fake orgasm. They think they make her husband think that everything is fine, and he can even imagine that 1 year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years that she feels nothing on the bed.
So I understand the effects of menopause, and you spoke about that now. But what would your advice be to a woman who is going through menopause now and that is causing a lot of stress in that part of her marriage? How does she cope with that? How does she overcome that?
Because there must be some kind of treatment, isn't it?
Yes, she needs special. Yeah, you can prescribe tablets, for example. You can use some medicaments inside the vagina, because some women they feel pain because the vagina becomes dry, very dry, and then during the intercourse can have even bleeding.
So it's not.
Yeah, it's quite difficult having sex, and some women they don't notice that. This is the point, and then what they do, they avoid having sex.
Okay.
Yeah, because they feel pain, and then the husband starts to notice that something is wrong. But you can treat it nowadays. I have patients with 60 years old, with men with 40 years old, and they come for help and they have sexual life, normal sexual life.
There is a way.
Billions of treatments nowadays, billions.
So it's the best policy is whatever's stressing you out, you need to talk about it, right?
Yes, it's the best thing to do.
Now, something that you said earlier, I want to pick up on. You said that most of your patients are women.
Yes.
Now, I imagine
that's your point.
I imagine that says something, because if the majority of people who come for help in that part of their life are women, it doesn't say that men don't have problem with stress affecting their sex life, but perhaps men, like you said earlier, are more proud in seeking help, and that can be a problem as well. Do you think men should be more open in seeking help if there is a problem?
Yes, they should do that, but maybe because I'm a woman, they prefer go with a man like them.
That could be as well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But for example, I have young couples in their 20s. It's easier to pick up the man, the boy. But the man in their 50s or 60s, it's quite tough.
Impossible.
They would come to see me if there is any doctor in the UK. They could see, okay, don't have choice. I have to talk to her about my sexual life. It's more proud. I guess it's education, okay, because it's quite difficult.
It's the way
even though it's an
people
open
see it.
country, it's an open country.
It's how they see the whole subject of sex, isn't it?
Yeah, they prefer to speak to their soulmate, men like themselves.
Yeah. Now, the point we perhaps have to make before we go for the break and we bring Tony and Moira on, is that everybody goes through stress at one point or the other in their life, right? I go through stress. I'm sure you, Dr.
All the time.
Vania, go through stress all the time.
All the time. All the time.
So the thing is, you know, stress cannot be an excuse for affecting your relationship. You need to know how to deal with it. And if there was one advice that you would give to couples or to people watching us now, perhaps on top of what you said earlier, what is the one most important thing to be able to cope with stress and not let that affect your sex life and your relationship?
First of all, you should recognize that you are under stress.
That there's a problem.
Yes, because some people, they do not recognize. They think that the problem is you. The problem it's not me. I'm perfect. The problem is you. It's not me, because you cannot say that you are shouting. I'm shouting. I'm not shouting. You know how many days you don't make love with me? Did you see that I have been to hairdresser tonight? Things like that. You should recognize that you have a problem. Yeah. And after that, start talking to your partner. Talk to your partner, not to the friend, colleague.
Very important. That's very important.
They give very wrong advice. Yeah. They keep telling my sexual life, 100%.
Yeah.
Everything is a lie. It's not that.
And some
even, as that.
You know, and some even say you should try something else. You know, you should maybe, you know, do what you used to do
gels
before.
Or creams,
or go and try other people. That's what, you know.
That's the kind of wrong advice
you get. Go to a place like that, go for a drink outside, or go for a trip alone and do it or do that.
You can still do it. You can still get the
wrong advice. This is the problem when you're looking for.
Most important thing: talk to your partner, like you said, and be honest. And I think something very important you touched on is, you know, nobody gets it right all the time. Everybody gets stressed, and you know, because the person who's with you loves you, right? They're going to understand if you're going through a problem. They're going to understand if you're stressed about something, and together you can overcome that, right? Together you can overcome everything.
Indeed, and I would even say that, you know, it's important that you know your partner. Observe. I can never say this word. Oh my God. See, because you know the person well, right? See, you will know, you will be able to identify when the person is under stress, what is causing the stress, and then you can go and you know, kiss the person on
Actually,
the cheek.
you always know when I'm stressed out about something.
Yeah,
right?
and I ask him when he gets really angry. I'm not stressed.
And that's when I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Right, we need to go to a break. Dr. Vania, I wanted to thank you for coming on. You have to come on more often. And
we have a lot to talk about.
This is something we can talk about for 10, 20 shows, and people will still think it's not enough.
Definitely.
And, you know, before we go into a break, I wanted to ask you a question. Actually, I'm not going to ask you a question. I'm going to let you watch this question and you think of the answer. We'll give you the answer when we come back from the break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, Tony and Moira, whose marriage almost went down the drain because of stress, and they made some of the biggest mistakes in their life because of that. They're going to talk to you how they went through that, came out on the other end, and today are very happy. Don't go anywhere.
According to a recent survey, what percentage of online data said that their breakups occurred via email? Was it A, 10%, B, 20%, or C, 48%? We'll tell you after the break. Before the break, we asked you what percentage of online data said that their breakups occurred via email. And the answer is C, 48%.
Now you see 48% of people get dumped via email or via Facebook or online somehow. That's not right. You shouldn't do that online, right?
Of course not.
I think
Things have changed.
I think some people don't want the hard part of honesty of talking to the person face to face.
Sometimes they leave it for too long. They can tell the person is not right, is not the right person, they're not compatible, but they just, you know, let's see what happens.
Absolutely.
Not nice.
Let's go and talk to Tony and Moira. Tony and Moira, how are you?
We're fine, thank you.
It's really good to have you guys here because you have.
Back.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
You have an amazing story, right? You guys got married quite young, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I was 21.
Yeah, 21. I'm 19.
You're 19.
Oh, it's exactly like us. I got married. We were 21.
True.
We were 19.
Wow.
You see the same thing. Now, your marriage in the beginning was would you say was quite good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect
we were doing,
marriage.
well, we thought it was perfect.
Yeah, before
yes.
that.
We want to hear.
Yeah, we did everything according, what married couple was supposed to be doing. And we were fine. We had 3 lovely boys. And they're not men now. And everything was, we have a happy home, and work was perfect, and we were just doing everyday thing.
Right.
And a married couple should be doing it.
And we went on holidays and do things like normal people do, walk in the park in summer times. Then one day,
after 23 years of marriage, our relationship started to break down completely because we had family staying with us, which was like a stress. My family, it was like stressful for us at home, isn't it?
Yes.
And our relationship started to break down.
When you say family, you mean who?
Like my brother.
Like brothers.
Yeah, my brother.
My in-laws would come over.
His wife and his children and my mum and dad and mostly my side, to be honest.
We didn't see the problem
we didn't.
developing, coming along. We didn't see that, we were just acting normal.
Right.
Like we put like a face value kind of thing, and we wouldn't argue in front of my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. So we would like keep that in, and I would see little things in the house. I wasn't happy. Right. I didn't communicate with my wife. I didn't tell her. I just keep it in. As like like put it in the closet, leave it there. It would,
and these things pile up, right?
It does,
because they don't disappear anywhere.
It multiplies itself overnight,
Right.
And then until you explode and
it was like a tie bomb ready to go. And there was time when we didn't even communicate with each other. We will cross each other on the staircase without saying a word.
Really?
Oh, wow.
So your marriage went from being really good, right? You guys were very happy, to being really bad because of the stress that family was putting over you. I'm sure that your family weren't doing that on purpose, but the fact that you have family staying over for a long period of time.
Not just that, I think because I was putting them first instead of my husband. I was putting my family first, and every time he tried to tell me things that was going wrong, I would just say, no, that's my family, you're just taking taking a mick at my family, you're just, it's my family, you don't like them, and things like that was coming out of,
and in some cultures it's quite offensive to tell the family, no, you can't stay over. So, sometimes they move to another country and then you're there, oh, can we stay for a few months, and then it goes on to 2-3 years.
Well, it did some of them stayed about 3 years.
3 years.
So, really?
The thing is, because we live in it was a 3-bedroom. First of all, our house was a 2-bedroom house, and then we moved to a 3-bedroom, and the bigger the house, the
more people we got.
they would stay.
Now tell me something, how did that stress of having family around and you guys started probably arguing about this, how did that affect your intimate life, your sex life? Did it affect that at all?
Yes, it went from 50 to 100% until there was nothing in the bedroom. There was no communication, there was no intimacy at all. It was dry, very, very dry. I mean, you could walk into a room and the vapor was so cold that when you speak, really cold. And we would turn our back on each other. And especially like if we were downstairs and we've given our bedroom to my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, we'd be downstairs. And
so there was no privacy also?
Yeah, there was you had to be, there was no communication. Like even also like the children were they would play a part as well, because we were so distant from each other, and I had my own problem at work, and so did more health problem at work. When the kids would do what kids do at that time, they would like they're under 16. We would take our anger onto them. Like we didn't have time for them. There were such simple things that I would just get angry.
Right.
And that became a problem as well in the family.
Now, so you guys, this started to really affect your sex life and so on. Now, Moira, you made the classic mistake at work.
Definitely.
Which was to tell someone of the opposite sex, a male person, about the problems you're going through.
It was easy to
download your problems onto somebody else who was paying me attention.
Right.
It was easy to do that, you know. I complained to him about Tony, you know, and I knew it wasn't right, but I was just, because he was there, you know, and then obviously that became like not a relationship, it was just like one night, I had a one-night stand with him.
Right.
And that's when things started getting worse at home.
Yeah, because
also
that because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, was like, if she would just will go out and if she wears something nice, I wouldn't pay the compliment.
Right. And you used to do that before?
I used to. And because I was like, you know, like in the zone of, you know, and I would just say, oh, you look nice. That's it. Let's come on, let's get in the car, let's go. And just put the CD on the car. You just drive, you know, and go.
Yeah, and you used to buy me flowers, like every time it gets paid, bouquet, beautiful flowers, and that completely stopped.
Yeah, because the flower shop closed down. So.
You can see how, through them talking about the experience, you guys are kind of listing a few things that went wrong, which maybe it's worth people at home taking notes.
Yeah,
because sometimes it's you completely you don't talk to the person anymore, you don't notice the person anymore, you start talking to your friends at work. These are very important
and I would
things.
say that the intimacy in a couple, the sex life of the couple, is like the thermometer of their relationship, because that shows how close you are together.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, Tony, when you found out, how did you find out about this one-night stand?
Well, to the truth, as I one day I went through her phone. It's because she used to like hide it, and as when you come home, the phone is silent. So I'm for the phone, and I see little messages. And then one evening she told me she's going to go out with her friends, with my two sons, and then they see what is actually started. And my son rang me up with that. There's a situation, you know. So she came. I goes, "Where's the boys?" And it's good already having fun in a nightclub. I said, okay, then I knew because it was what my son told me already. So I jumped into my car, went to pick my sons up from Maswell Hill. We came back. I tried to diffuse the situation, but my son would not accept it. And she wouldn't tell me the truth. Then next morning she told me that what she'd done. And I realized. And then I kept that going for 4 to 5 years. I stayed with Moira because I didn't feel like, break the family. But then I couldn't keep that because there was no intimacy in the bedroom still.
5 years?
Yeah. We did, not 5 years, we did make love, but not...
But 5 years with that problem.
Yeah, that problem,
Just cooking.
Like about
just cooking,
Yeah, nothing was done.
And is it true that you went off and you paid back in the same coin as well?
That's right, yeah. I paid her with the same paintbrush. I said that if she could do this to me, I'm going to do it the worst time what you did to me. I'm going to really hurt you. So I left her for somebody else in her family.
In her family?
But no, I wasn't, it was our best friend.
Like a best friend, okay.
Yeah, friend of the family. And I betrayed her.
Did you do that purposely to hurt her? Or it was just something that happened?
It's something that happened because what happened is because I had no one else to speak about my situation. Because I was close to this lady, so I confided in her.
Same thing that you same thing that she did, right?
Yes. Instead of communicating with each other. Yes, yeah, exactly. Obviously, when you speak to somebody, like they never give you the right advice. It's always like, you know what, you're such a lovely man, and
you should enjoy life.
Yeah, you know what you're doing this, that kind of thing.
Predictable, isn't it?
So that in that kind of sense, like, oh, that's weird. I'm good. I'm a good man, And we kind of have a relationship for about 2 years. I was hiding behind her. I was coming home late because my work allowed me to work late because I would travel around London, so she wouldn't know where I was. So one day I was working in Finchley when I was just around the corner, and I would come home late while I was, see the other lady.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I always wondered why he used to, even though she drove, every time we had to do at our place, he used to go and pick her up. And go and pick her up for hours and hours, and she'd only lived in Enfield, and we live in Palmer's Green, and it was like, where's he gone?
Just next door, isn't it?
I don't know if it was, I was naive, I don't know. I just didn't think, because she was my best friend as well. That's what made it worse. Right. So I trusted both of them.
Right. We're going to go into a break now, but when we come back, we're going to see how Tony and Moira managed to turn things around, how they solved the problem, identified the problem, and managed to turn things around. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
In this week's Celebrity Goss, congratulations to Kimberly Walsh and boyfriend Justin Scott, who've just announced they're having a baby. The Girls Aloud star took to Twitter this week to break the exciting news. Kimberly has been with boyfriend Justin for over 10 years. This makes Kimberly the second girl allowed to become a mum, after Nadine Coyle gave birth to a baby girl 2 weeks ago. Michelle Keegan and Mark Wright are delaying their wedding so they have more time to plan their big day. The Coronation Street actress and former Tues star were going to tie the knot this year, but have now decided to exchange vows in 2015 because Michelle doesn't leave the soap until the spring. The reality TV star also revealed that he and Michelle, who've been dating for over a year, are still happy together and she is the perfect woman for him. Some sad news in the world of celebrity marriages. After 9 years of marriage, Robin Thicke and his actress wife Paula Patton have decided to separate. The pair, who have dated since their early teens, released a statement saying, "We will always love each other and be best friends. However, we have mutually decided to separate at this time." And that's all for this week's Celebrity Goss.
Welcome back. Now, you've heard the bad news, right? From Tony and Moira. You've heard the disaster. Perhaps people were watching at home and it was like a car crash. They were seeing a car crash unfolding in slow motion in their eyes.
Maybe they identify themselves with this story.
Maybe it's happening. Maybe it's their car crash.
Exactly.
Now, guys, what happened? What did you do to try to solve this problem? Or Tony, if you don't mind, you said a lot. Is it okay if she speaks a little bit? Who usually talks the most, you or it's him?
It's usually the other way around, isn't it?
Usually the other way around. So, Moira, what happened? How did you guys manage to solve this problem?
We seek some help and advisors and we've done a lot of counselling.
Okay.
And we got to know each other again. Like from the past, what happened, we didn't want to think about that anymore. We started rebuilding our relationship, you know, in the bedroom.
But let me ask you something quickly. But how did you get to that stage where let's go and seek help? Because, you know, you don't just wake up in the morning one day.
It's a long process. Long process.
So how did it go from one to another thing?
It's like trusting each other again.
Did you start talking about the problem?
Before we never used to, and then, but we thought this is it. The advisors gave us advice, obviously, and we took that on board, and we started communicating, you know, properly now, not just like we were doing before, like you know, like really, really.
Yeah, it's like I was told like we have to find the problem within ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't keep blaming Moira for my mistake, you know, or vice versa. So I have to stop with myself. I have to know, so like now and then accept responsibility. Because you know, no point pointing fingers. I had to sort of like realize that my own faults.
Vice versa. We've done that both
so
of
we
us
start with that, and then we were taught to spend quality time. Don't just put the children first. But start, you know, like although you're parents, but you yourself need your own space. So we start going out, you know, like twice a month, you know.
So you said something interesting, huh? You said that instead of putting the kids first, you're putting yourselves first. And a lot of people will not agree with you. I don't know if you know that. But the truth is that if you put your marriage first, you're putting them first, because if you're happy, they'll be happy.
Of course, they'll benefit from
exactly
it.
right. Yeah.
That's how we know the guidance we had, you know, to do that. So we start obeying and what the people was, the council was telling us to do, put into practice, you know, and also like going back what I used to do before, like the first time when I first met her, and buy her the flowers, cook the dinner.
Oh, not like that.
Yeah, I'm usually very busy. Tell me something, how difficult is it to rebuild trust after something like what happened to you happens?
It was hard, but we knew that we had to fix it. We wanted to be together.
So you still loved each other,
Yeah, we
right?
still loved each other. Yeah. Because
There was that spark was still there.
Yeah, was still there. But we knew that we had to fix it for our children and for our sake, most of all, you know. And
in fact, I would get jealous. So like if before I came back, I just go. I would think, oh my God, if I don't go back with her now, somebody else is going to take her. She's beautiful, you know. I want to have that. I need to get that person back. That's how I think that's when I knew that when she resolved the problem, and now we're happy.
Like you better break your pride or you're going to lose the woman kind of thing, isn't
exactly,
it?
yeah.
Now, something interesting is that, for example, before you had all these problems and you never really got to talk about them. You would just blame each other. Now you were learning to talk about the problem, and you spoke about what happened. Did you talk about, for example, instead of blaming each other, did you say, look, you know, we have this problem, I'm trying to change, help me to change. Did you do that, motivate each other to change as well?
We one evening we sat in the opposite direction. We had pen and paper, we write down what was wrong about me, and it's, you know,
really?
Yeah, we did that.
And her list, because she can write a novel.
Wow, she had a lot to say.
Both page, front and back.
Really?
Yeah.
How long was your list?
No, mine was just like, but my focus was like, it's always the bedroom side. You know, not enough. That's you know, and like you were saying earlier, and that was my issue. But you know, I realized now sometimes, you know, like, she goes to work because she works in a school with special needs children, and it's not always easy. Are you with me? So I had to understand that if she goes to work, she come back and put the dinner, and I had to understand that she's tired. There's a time, you know.
Yeah, but you always seem to be on fire for some reason.
You see, it's either one or the other, isn't it?
But it's true. It's just want to see every night. No, I can't.
And let me ask you something, because something very interesting about what you said is that, for example, your list was all about the intimacy part of your relationship. And a lot of people will say about you, Tony, that's typical men. Men are like that. And actually, it's not true, because I think it's equally important for both of them. But in your case, it's not that that wasn't important for you. Is that perhaps you were, like you said, you were stressed about something. Did you feel accused when she had that 2-page list, or you felt like she was trying to help you to become better?
Yeah, part of me felt a bit accused, but then at the same time tried to help me to understand her point of view. It's not always like, you know, like, you can't just cut your cake and eat it. You know, like, I had to understand her, because she, as a woman, she too has issues, like, you know, like, you know, because I was working a stressful job, and I didn't bring my job at home. I leave it outside, but she brings home her work because we have a special needs child as well. So, you know, I don't say that he was a problem, but when you work a special need and you come home, there's still another one there. You got to take care.
Plus the family,
the family.
What, the dog, the cat.
So all this she's taking on board. And,
oh my God!
And I got she's also good with the bills, so I leave all the bills to her. So she got all the stress, but all I want is like, you know,
not paying them, you mean sorting them out. Sorting them out.
So all that takes place. But then I understood when she put that down. I read it. I said, my God, I did not see for the glass.
So finally, you understood her.
Yes, I had to admit that, and in a way, I caused this marriage to be wrong. I had to admit that. But now I understand, because that's one thing as well, the advisor used to tell us what to do. Even when we argue now, don't go to bed, you know, wake up next morning, that same situation. And try to sort it the same night if you can. If you've been going next morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, sort it out, because next morning you'll find yourself much a better person. And when you wake up, you know, there's nowhere like this grumpy face next to you, but you see that.
That's an important move.
Yeah. And now the final question, for us to close with the main point, because this is what the show is about. How important would you say today your intimacy in your marriage is? How important is that? How do you make sure that you have time for that? How important is it for you?
It's very important. Very, very important. I think we do have to make time for ourselves and set aside whatever's going on at that space, at that moment, like, you know, and do things for ourselves, like you know, set the stage. In other words, like you know, like have the mood, have the candles, have the you know, petals. sorry, and you know, make it special, make it special for both of us. You know, it's not just, you know, like, you know,
it's time.
You get on with it.
It's time.
You start. You don't put. There's no clock. There's no time. It's just like you have to be. We have to be neutral. You know, and I had to feel good, and so does she as well, and say the right thing at the same time as well. You know, and also dress sense, make sure the right aftershave is on. And that's good for you as well, do perfume. And say the right things, and like she said, put the music on, and we do much more. And even sometimes, like it's been raining for the last few weeks or few months, and I said, it'd be nice if you just go and walk in the rain, in the park. Sometimes it's nice to walk in the park, and when it's raining and come back home.
Do things that you used to do when you were dating, isn't it?
We're doing them now again,
How long has it been since you guys managed to restore your marriage?
It's been 3 years, 2010 it happened, 3.5 years.
How have these 3.5 years been since you...
This is the best one.
The best, I think.
I don't say the rest were bad, but this one is much more closer, and we seem to know each other more. And
your story is really amazing, because I believe people who are watching you at home now, they can see that really you guys are close and you're happy.
And not only that, James, is the forgiveness and the humbleness. That for me is the main thing.
Yeah, that is.
Because nothing of this would be possible if there wasn't forgiveness, understanding, and one looking at it, both looking at each other and say, hold on, I also played a part in this. Definitely. It wasn't just him. Oh, but I just did it once and he did it for 2 years. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We both. So for me, this is the most amazing thing.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the show.
Pleasure. Thank you for sharing.
You'll come back, because it's the second time you're on the show, and today it had to be you, because this show had everything to do with you. So thank you very much.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, before we go, I just want to make a point here. Going back to Tony Moore's story, remember his page about the critiques was only about the bedroom part, and most men will say that's how men are. Many women will say that's how men are. You see, that's why men are like this, men are like that. But actually, that's a very, very important part of the relationship, right?
It is, and I just wanted to give an advice to the women out there. It doesn't matter the stage you're going through in your life, if you're young, if you are maturing, if your body is changing, be young. It doesn't matter if you are 90 years old, 80 years old, be young. I think this is very important to keep things interesting in a relationship. Be young, do the things you used to do before. Okay, you have gray hair now, it doesn't matter. Or you are slightly bigger now, it doesn't matter. Probably, you tell me, my husband, he said in the beginning actually that in 10 years time he will like me more than he likes me now. So I'm assuming that this carries on and in 30 years, in 40. So I believe that when you love someone, you love the person regardless of things. So
absolutely.
You have to keep that in mind.
And my advice is this, you probably are going through stress right now, and you'll go through stress tomorrow and the day after. Stress is a part of life. You need to deal with it. What you cannot do is you can never allow that part of your life to affect one of the most important things you have, perhaps the most important, which is your relationship, okay? Learn how to keep stress out of the bedroom. That part of your bedroom is sacred, because that's where you have something with your partner that you don't have anywhere else, or with anyone else, I should say, okay? It's been a pleasure to be with you. Until next time, have a wonderful afternoon.